Good morning again, everybody. I think we've got everyone that's due to be here has arrived. Welcome to our second draft business plan consultation webinar. My name is Mark Shaw. I'm our Rio ED2 business plan manager, and I'm ultimately responsible for delivering the business plan to Ofgem on time. I would like to thank you for spending your time with us today. I know time is precious, and we'll keep this to the 45 minutes that we have put in place already. The aim is very much for me to set the scene on our draft business plan, and then to encourage you to go onto our website to be able to participate in our consultation. Your feedback is essential to us in developing our plan, and I will set the scene and hopefully encourage you to go onto our website. We do need your feedback. The format today is that I will do a presentation for about 20 minutes. And then there will be an opportunity to ask myself and the panel any questions for about a further 25 minutes. What I would ask is that you stay on mute during the presentation, and you'll see on your screen a button which has got Q&A. So if you want to ask the panel or myself and the panel any questions, please type in your question in there. And I've got some colleagues from WPD who will be collating those questions and putting those to me at the end of my presentation. Please be aware that we will cover all questions, so we'll fill the 25 minutes by answering questions, but if we have more than the questions that come through and we have time to be able to deliver, what we'll do is we'll send the questions and the answers to you after, so you'll see that every question that comes up will be answered. You'll also see on your screen, you'll have a chat function. If for any reason you're having any technical issues with this, please just type into the chat function that you're having issues, and our colleagues from Helpful Digital, who are facilitating today's webinar, will be able to help you. So please use the Q&A for questions to myself and the panel, and use the chat function if you're having any technical issues. So hopefully you're ready to go, and I'm going to move through the presentation. So who are we? We are the largest DNO in the UK. We have 4 licence areas covering the East and West Midlands, South Wales and Southwest of England. We actually put power to 7.9 million homes and businesses in that area. And we have a very simple philosophy. Our aim is to deliver affordable, excellent customer service by keeping the lights on, and to ensure that our customers can connect to our network when they want to at an affordable price. We are regulated by Ofgem, and effectively the revenue we get to be able to deliver that service comes as part of what we call a price control. And the price control period we're talking about for this webinar is our Rio ED2 period, which is a 5-year period between 2023 to 2028. Now, Rio is the regulatory framework and where we get our revenue. So R is revenue, i.e. the income we need to be able to deliver the service that you want us to deliver, is the sum of any incentives we can gain by outperforming the benchmark level of service, any innovation we can use to increase our efficiency, and then some money that comes from the price control for our outputs. And we call those core commitments, i.e. the price control period allows us to have money to deliver on those outputs. And what we're talking about now is really we have to submit a business plan for the Rio ED2 period in order to be able to get the revenue we require to deliver that service. So how does that work? We have a timetable, which you can see at the top there, and I'm going to work from the right-hand side backwards. So we have ultimately got to deliver our final business plan to the regulator on the 1st of December this year. In order to do that, we have to submit our first submission to the regulator on the 1st of July. So there's one submission on the 1st of July, which goes to the regulator for their challenge group. And then the final submission goes in on the 1st of December. We, as a business, decided we wanted to put our draft business plan out twice prior to that submission on the 1st of July. So we published our first draft business plan on the 27th of January this year. And we had a consultation exercise where we had feedback from our stakeholders. And that feedback then got fed into our business plan too. And we published that on the 24th of March. And we're now, as you know, in the consultation period looking for your feedback on our business plan in order that you can influence it prior to us submitting it for the first time to the regulator on the 1st of July. In order to get to that business plan, we have engaged with over 9,600 stakeholders, and 5,700 of those were via direct in-person engagement. So we've got what we consider to be a very good plan that is definitely built up based on what our stakeholders have said to us. And just to add to that, from the consultation exercise itself, when we had it in BP1, we had over 2,200 consultation responses to that business plan, and we're hoping for the same level for the business plan 2 consultation. So what does our plan look like, and how does it differ from the one we originally issued in what we call BP1? So our plan is 10 chapters. It's just over 200 pages, and you can see in there that what we've done, based on the feedback we received from the first consultation, we have updated chapters 3, 4, 5. We've expanded chapter 6, and we've added in new chapters. So we've added in chapter 7, which is managing uncertainty, chapter 8, which is about competition, and chapter 9 about financing our plan. That structure is the final structure that we'll be using to submit our business plan to the regulator. So our second draft business plan gives you an opportunity to comment on the whole plan itself. So associated with that, we've also got our consultation document, and our consultation document runs alongside the business plan. And what we focused on very much is that for this consultation, we want you to comment on our plan and then look at our core commitments. But we realized that for you to read 200 pages plus of our second draft business plan is probably a big ask in most cases. So we've summarized in our consultation document our business plan in 10 pages. So when you go into the consultation, you'll be able to answer the 14 questions we have based on those 10 pages, bar 2 questions, which I'll talk about later. So in essence, we have a business plan out there and a consultation document, and we're looking for your feedback. So we'll talk about the plan. So the second draft business plan is largely consistent with our first draft. We still propose to spend about £6 billion over the 5 years to be able to deliver what we consider to be our current view of the business. What we will be doing is we will be looking to invest that £1.2 billion more than we are, £1.2 billion, which is actually more than we're investing at this moment in time. That lift in expenditure is based on the fact that we need to invest for the net zero carbon future. Ultimately, our expenditure could go up by £1.95, greater than you actually pay, the domestic customer pays at this moment in time. However, with efficiencies and finance parameters, we are looking to keep the bill on around the same level. So keeping the bill on average for the domestic customer around about £96. And that is our current aim. So we talked about our commitments in the plan. And what's changed between BP1 and BP2. We originally had 67 core commitments in the plan, and based on your feedback, you wanted us to consolidate those down. You wanted us to streamline them. You also wanted us to be more ambitious, and you wanted us to make sure that they were measurable. So what we've done is we have created 4 new commitments. We have increased the ambition of 35 of those core commitments and made them more ambitious in line with your views. And we've also reworded 11 of those commitments to make sure that it's clearer outcomes and that it's clear how we're going to measure those. And on the right-hand side, you'll see there that we have our latest set of high-level commitments, including the fact that we'll be net zero by 2028. Yeah, so I will talk through some of those about how what we've done to increase the ambition. So we have been more ambitious in a lot of our commitments, and here's an example. So in BP1, we put out that we would support 75,000 fuel poor customers to save 40 million over RIIO-ED2. You said to us, you want us to go further. You want us to do more. So following the consultation in BP1, in BP2, we are now proposing 113,000 fuel for customers to benefit from this, and potentially the savings of £60 million on their energy bills. You've also asked us to put new commitments in there. Now, there's a commitment that we've got an example of there. We knew we wanted to do this, but we hadn't actually articulated it to you. So what we've done now is put it as a core commitment to ensure the capacity availability to enable net zero to be achieved across our regions sooner than 2050. And what that means is our stakeholders, our industry, our local authorities have their own net zero ambitions, and we want to drive and enable each one of those organisations to be able to connect to our network to enable their low carbon technology future. And we've also reworded 11 of our commitments. So our original commitment in BP1 was underground insulating divert overhead lines that cross school or playing areas. And we've reworded that now to make it more clear about the outcome. So reduce the risk of injury or harm to children, that's the outcome, by delivering 780 schemes at 43% of total locations. That's the measurability. So we have changed our commitment significantly. So we've reduced from 67 to 58 and made sure that we have changed the wording to make them more ambitious. I also want to share with you our best view. So we talked about the low carbon technology future and the part that we have to play in order to enable that. We generate our forecast on what we think is going to happen based on what's called WPD's distribution future energy scenarios. They're aligned with the national scenario, which comes from National Grid. And then what we do is we test those scenarios with local authorities and stakeholders to determine whether or not they actually match their ambition. And by doing that, we're able to come up with what we call WPD's best view. And we anticipate that for Rio ED2, that we will plan to connect up to a further 1.5 million electric vehicles and up to 600,000 heat pumps in order to ensure that the net zero future is able to be done, to be achieved. We believe we've got a key role to influence in that market. We'll be spending an extra £106 million to be able to ensure that the capacity is there. But it's also key to understand we're going to spend that money wisely. So where there is the option to be able to free the capacity up by using what we call flexibility first, i.e. looking at the system and seeing if we don't have to actually upgrade the wires by using what we call flexible services, where we can either constrain a generator, or we can get generators to generate at the time of high peak in order to ensure that we don't have to upgrade the network. And we'll only then move to conventional reinforcement after we've gone through that exercise. So that's WPD's best view. And one of our questions, or some of our questions in the consultation, relate to that. So the consultation itself, the key at the moment is it's very easy. When you go to our website, it's 2 clicks from our homepage and you're straight into our consultation. What we're looking for you to do is to answer 14 questions, and they are really based on the consultation document. So that goes from 1 to 14. Those questions will talk about the acceptability of our plan, talk about the best view that I've just gone through with you on the slides, talk about our expenditure, our core commitments, and they give you an opportunity to answer those questions in free format. I did say that there were 2 questions you need to look at for the whole plan itself. So on the consultation document, you can answer those questions just by reading the consultation document. However, if you do have time to scan our business plan, then I've also encouraged you to answer 8 and 9, which talk about the plan, the accessibility of the plan, the feel of the plan, the direction of the plan. But if you can't do that, then please just answer questions 1 to 14, excluding 8 and 9, because all of your feedback is extremely, extremely important to us. So how does this work? We have got lots of ways you can actually communicate to us on feedback. So the first thing is you can go to our website and there's natural links that go right through to be able to get to the plan. The best way of doing it is to go online. You have to go online, and when you go online, you should be able to go straight in on 2 clicks and be able to answer our plan. However, if you don't want to do that, you can download a response form and then return it to us by email, or you can email us directly, or you can write to us. We're not prescriptive. The key for us is making sure that we do get your feedback. You'll see that the closing date for this consultation is Sunday, the 25th of April. So that's just over a calendar month to be able to get the feedback into us. And as I said, it is extremely important to us and critical that we get your feedback. You can see that we do listen, we do amend our plan, and we will adapt and refine our plan to meet your needs. So I really, really encourage you to be able to participate in the consultation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this over to questions, and I'll introduce a couple of my colleagues.
Morning, Mark. Morning, everybody. It's Michael Clark from Corporate Communications Team Manager at Western Power Distribution. Thanks to everybody who's participated and attended this morning. Please do send through your questions to us via the Q&A button, and as Mark said, we'll try to get through as many of those as we possibly can over the next 20 or so minutes that we've got with you. Just to also confirm to everybody, in case you're wondering, the full copy of the slides will also be put onto our website so that you can read that at your leisure. And also we are recording this webinar, so we will get a copy of the full webinar, which will be on our website in the next few days. So do look out for that. And if anybody hasn't been able to see the whole webinar or has missed the webinar, they can watch it at a later point. And the web address is westernpower.co.uk/BP2. Mark, one of the key questions that's come through is regarding one of the key headlines from Business Plan 2 and a key change from Business Plan 1, which is around the move towards becoming a net zero business by 2028. How realistic would you say it is for WPD to achieve net zero by 2028?
Okay, that's a great question. Let me just put some context to that. So when we put the Business Plan 1 out, our stakeholders said to us that they wanted us to be more ambitious than 2050. So from a business carbon footprint, we put in Business Plan 1 2043. When we went out to consultation again, it was quite clear that our stakeholders wanted us to be even more ambitious than that. So our stakeholders said 2028 is where they want us to be. We've looked at that and we feel we've got a plan to do it. And, it is ambitious, and you're absolutely right. It's quite a challenge, quite a tall order for us. And we're going to focus our efforts in heat and transport. So we've got a plan that talks about actually making electric vehicles for our fleet. So we're looking to basically get early change to electric vehicles for our fleet vehicles. And also to look at our heat proposition to see how we can use PVs or all of our depots photovoltaic cells to be able to then use low carbon technology to heat and provide the energy for those depots. As you said, it is ambitious, and so by 2028, for us to be net zero, we will need to use what's called offsetting. And offsetting will be that where we're not able to reduce our carbon footprint, we'll offset it in a way. And we're using UK-based offsetting principles. That either means planting trees in the UK or working with partnership organisations to be able to put PV onto domestic housing, potentially for vulnerable customers. Our overall strategy, though, Michael, is really to make sure that what we want to do is to make sure we get to net zero as close as we can and minimise the level of offset that we require. Because clearly what will happen is, even by 2028, if we do have offset, that will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and with the aim that we will be net zero without offset, as early as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mark. Morning, everyone. My name is Richard Alcock. Mark, we had a question come in from a parish and district councillor that's asked what part of local authority councillors to play in your business plan?
Okay, well, local authorities are essential to our business plan for two reasons. One, clearly they represent a lot of stakeholders themselves, and then they are a key stakeholder. From our point of view, the local authorities really give us the the insight as to what extra load is coming on in our areas, and also what the ambition is for net zero. So what we did, and as I mentioned in the presentation, we take our future energy scenarios, we broke them down to the areas where our local authorities are, and then we go out and speak and engage with those local authorities to test, to see whether or not that our ambition, our future scenario matches their ambition. And we went out to and have contacted 130 of our local authorities across our whole area, and they are really, really critical. And what I find is that at our stakeholder workshops, we do have a significant representation for local authorities, and I would encourage that to continue in the future, because that is important to us.
Thanks, Mark. We've had some similar questions coming through, so I'll try to capture it all in one go. So thanks to Matthew, Morgan, and also Jing for sending in these questions. It's regarding the news on National Grid purchasing WPD, and the question is particularly around the fact of whether this will change the plan in the future. And will being owned by National Grid make a difference to the proposed business plan? Okay,
so I guess you're talking about the proposed sale of the WPD to National Grid. I think from my perspective, obviously an owner is an essential stakeholder. An owner of the business has to be able to sign off the plan and ensure that it's deliverable for them. We've got potentially at the moment, we've got an excellent owner in the guise of PPL, who own us at this moment in time. And there's no reason that with National Grid, who have got a great reputation, they won't be an excellent owner as well. So, but at the end of the day, although an owner has to buy into the plan, our plan is based on what our stakeholders require. Our feedback from that 9,600 stakeholders is critical for what we need to deliver, and our business is very, very simple. It is about making sure we keep the power on, that we're a sustainable business, we make it affordable for our customers, and also that the key for us is making sure that we can make the connections when it's required. So ultimately, I think that a new owner will be fine. They will have an input into the plan, but we are looking to develop and focus our plan at the moment on our stakeholder feedback. And that's why the consultation exercise is important to us. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks very much, Mark. We've had a couple of similar questions in, one from David Phillips and one from Anthony Denham, asking about any of the commitments that have been reduced or removed, and why that was the case. Okay. Particularly around, anything supporting decarbonisation.
Yeah, so we just looked at a few of the commitments where we have taken them out from being a core commitment, because the core commitments are ones that should be very measurable and outcome focused. So what we've done is, as you saw, the ambition in all the other commitments has been erased, but we haven't lost them. So anything that was previously there has been moved into what we call a wider commitment. So our business plan is focused on having, at the moment, 58 core commitments, but throughout the whole plan, we've got lots of other commitments about how we're going to deliver our plan, for our strategies, etc. So anything that was originally in the plan, which clearly had stakeholder support, that we have actually moved into, out of the core commitments, is still in the plan. It is still a wider commitment. It's just what we felt was important, and what we're hearing from our stakeholders is that 58 core commitments should really be an exemplary format, so that you can actually see from those 58 exactly what the plan says and what are the key areas of delivery for stakeholders, and for WPD to be ensure that we are measured against those 58 at this moment in time, to ensure that we deliver and that our plan is successful.
Mark, the next question has come through from Julian Marsh. Thank you, Julian. Have you got a draft timeline with intermediate quantifiable targets for achieving your commitments?
Yeah, really, really good question. So yes, we do. So each one of our commitments will be bedded into a strategy. So as part of the business plan, although we have the main 200 pages, that will be expanded into annexes and appendices. and also there will be core strategies associated with each of our core commitments. So we've got an environmental action plan as one of our strategies. We have a digitalisation strategy. We have a DSO strategy, and each one of those will be addended to the business plan. So when we submit on the 1st of July, that will be the core document, annexes and appendices, and also all of our strategies. So the answer is yes, we've got all that detail.
Hi, Mark. We've had a couple of similar questions coming around headroom and capacity for electric vehicles and heat pumps if they're significantly higher than our forecast in the business plan. For instance, a factor of ×5 or 10. How would we deal with that situation?
Yeah, a great question, great question. So I think what we've looked at is that we've taken our WPD's best view with up to 1.5 million electric vehicles, 600,000 heat pumps. And from those scenarios, that's in sort of the middle ground of ambition. So if we did find that there was more that were coming on, then we have an adaptive strategy in the business. So we are able to analyse and forecast about what we think may be happening. So that we make sure internally we're able to respond to that, and we've proved that in the past. So for Rio ED1, the price control we're in at this moment in time, when we put our business plan out, we didn't anticipate the move to what we call distribution system operator. At the time when we put our business plan out, we weren't aware of the large take up in LCTs. And renewable energies, but we were able to adapt through that period to allow that to all happen, and therefore we believe we've got the ability to be able to adapt and do that going forward. With regard to the network, I think we can realise that capacity via two things. We'll look at the flexibility first, capacity. So if we can use flexibility as we would previously, then that's the key. That will enable us to unlock the system to be able to meet the needs of those extra electric vehicle charging points and the heat pumps. If we're not able to do that, then we'll be able to ramp up using our adaptive strategy to be able to make sure that we can then do the conventional reinforcement. I mean, if you look at the flexibility first element, in ED1, we saved over £26 million by deferring the need to be able to invest in the network because of flexibility first. So we would definitely be using that as the way forward, and we see that as important. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Mark. Please do keep your questions coming, everybody. We still have a little bit of time to go through them. The next question is from Morgan Donnelly. Mark, will subcontractors and consultants that WPD use also need to operate as a net zero business?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Michael. And from a point of view that we will be encouraging our subcontractors and consultants to be following our steer. I mean, effectively, as a business, what we do is we very much feel that anyone working for us should use our standards and our models. So from a safety perspective, we expect them to have their own safety management system, but also to follow some of our safety protocols. And the same with net zero. We are looking for our contractors and our consultants, not only to support us to deliver net zero internally, but also to ensure that they have ambitious targets themselves for net zero. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mark. A question just in from Gordon, and it's around the proportion of energy that will be generated from distributed connected generation within our region. So have you an idea of what proportion we expect to be of the energy consumed within our regions generated within the region itself, connected to the network, and around what percentage would be from community owned sources? So I guess it's potentially, how are we supporting community energy groups?
Okay, I don't know the direct answer to the proportions, but I think I can answer the question on the community energy side. We value our community energy groups, and you'll see the commitments in there are about us engaging and engaging more than we have done at this moment in time. So we are looking to have more community energy webinars, and we're looking at workshops with the community energy groups, and we will do what we call actively lean into that. So that means actually getting engaged, making sure we're sharing information on what community energy groups can do and what the opportunities are for them, and also to give them a point of contact within WPD. So if they need to ask questions, they need advice, they need support, that we'll be able to then help them through to be able to get to, to deliver the projects that they want to deliver.
Hi, Mark. Another question has come through from C. Deves, and it's a follow-up to the question that was asked a bit earlier around headroom. Can you change your investment funding from Ofgem before 2028? I thought this was fixed.
No, well, you're right in some ways. The first allowance is fixed, but what we're proposing is that we'll take our best view, and we will be asking for an upfront allowance from Ofgem for the period, which is what we call ex-ante allowance. So that's an allowance that we get as part of the assessment for price control. But we're also proposing what we call a volume driver. And the volume driver is what they call an uncertainty mechanism. And what that means is that if for whatever reason the take-up of electric vehicles or heat pumps is different than where we had forecast, there's the ability for it to be ratcheted up and ratcheted back from a financial perspective. So ultimately, partially we have an upfront payment. If it ratchets up or down, then we can actually amend that amount to be able to match the requirement going forward. If that makes sense.
Thank you, Mark. We have a question coming in from David around the DSO and DSO role, and how does our plan reflect there might be more than one possible role for the DSO in future, if there are any changes to how that works in terms of how Ofgem want that to roll out in the future.
Okay, so we were the first to ever publish our DSO strategy, and we've refined that strategy for Rio ED2. So we've got a new updated DSO strategy. We've been very keen as a business to understand where distribution system operations is going. And what we've done as a business is said that we have got a section that are still within WPD, but are looking after this DSO type functions. So they're looking at analysing the networks, doing the forecasting and looking at the flexibility element. So we believe whichever direction the DSO goes, we'll be able to adapt in the future to be able to match Ofgem's requirements associated with that. As a business, we actually think that it's best for DSO to stay with us. However, yeah, that's not something that if Ofgem decide, or the industry decides that's something that we need to change, then we're able to adapt very quickly to be able to enable that to happen.
Mark, another question's come through from David. The government's plan for electric vehicles is for all new vehicles sold in 2030 to be plug-in. This means that by 2030, approximately 46% of all cars on the road will be plug-in. How does this relate to the WPD target of 1.5 million charge points?
Yeah, good question, Michael. Well, my understanding is that that the take-up based on that would mean that the 1.5 million includes what we believe will be the take-up in our area. So ultimately, our forecasting has been based on that type of information, so that we believe that the 1.5 is a realistic estimate. However, as I said before, if for whatever reason it goes up higher than that, we've got the ability to adapt and be able to make all those connections. So we are confident that whatever happens, we will be able to keep ahead of our customers and stakeholders' needs to install EVs, heat pumps, or other low carbon technology in their properties. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Mark. We've had this one was a bit more of a statement, but it might be an opportunity for you to talk about this area, because it's around digitalisation of physical assets and data, and the stakeholder has said it's clear that there is a need to invest significantly in this. So it might be worth explaining how we've incorporated that into our plan.
Absolutely. Okay, Richard, that's great. Yeah, so digitalisation is really about making sure that we have the ability to capture the operation of our network, and then to be able to allow that data to be able to be open, i.e. that means that our stakeholders can access that data to inform their decisions, whether that's about loading or about capacity or anything like that. So we are having to invest significant amounts of money in the network to be able to monitor the power flows, basically the flow of energy from A to B on our network. And that is specifically going to be targeting our low voltage network in order that we know what's happening at that type of network. And that's going to help us to be able to make decisions, as well as being able to share that data with our stakeholders who can then access that. And we're going to, the part of the digitalisation strategy is to make that access really, really easy, whether that means you go into a website to look at it, or whether you use automatic electronic machinery tools to come in and select data and take it out. And that's all part of our digitalisation strategy. Thank you, Richard.
Hi, Mark. I believe we have answered all the questions that have come through so far. So I'll give everybody a couple more minutes to put any final questions to you. But just while we're waiting to confirm to everybody that we are looking for everybody to have their say. And we would welcome everybody to go to our website to view the consultation document, view the business plan, and do please fill in the questionnaire. It's very straightforward. You can download it if you want to, and print it as a PDF or email it to us, or the online questionnaire does work very well too. So please do go to westernpower.co.uk/BP2, and if you do have any questions or queries, then please email us, and our email address is yourpowerfuture@westernpower.co.uk.
Mark, we have a sorry, Mike.
Sorry,
we
Rich.
have a bit of a follow-on question on the electric vehicles one, Mark. Around this is anonymous attendee again, but they say I think a lot of people don't realise that you need to talk to the WPD if you want an electric vehicle charging point. Can you explain how you plan to make sure folk on your network know that they must inform you to check that the network can handle their additional load?
Oh, that's an excellent point, a really, really excellent point. I think, yeah, we will obviously have information on our website associated with that. And I think there is, you're absolutely right, there is a need for us to ensure that all of our stakeholders and all of our customers are aware of that need. And what we're also keen to do is that we're trying to make it as easy as possible for that to happen as well. So we are planning to see whether we can have an automatic tool. So if somebody does want to apply for an electric vehicle, they can go online. For a domestic customer, go online, they can put in their address. We'll know what their network looks like in that area. We'll also know what their service is, and potentially they could have a pre-assessment about whether they can connect a heat pump or electric vehicle nice and easy. So I think there's two elements to it. One, you're absolutely right. We do need to make sure that customers understand that they need to be, checking before they, just attach something to their, or install something to their service. But secondly, we're going to make the process, as well as that, we're going to market the fact that we've got a really simple tool for doing that. And therefore that will firstly message that you need to apply, and secondly, that it's really, really easy. So please do so. Thank you, Richard.
I think my call to everybody to send in questions has worked. We've had loads come through now, so we have only got 5 minutes, so we'll try to get through a couple of the questions here. What I will say is, any questions that we can't get to in this webinar, we will revisit, and we will reply to you directly with the answers to those questions. So if we haven't got time to get to you, apologies, but you will get an answer. Mark, question from Robert Price has come through to say WPD's included an increase for the cost of diversions for LV wood poles in ED2. What is the amount of this increase, and does it cover HV wood poles in gardens?
Okay, so the actual sum I don't know off the top of my head, if I'm honest. But yeah, we are looking to basically move some of our low voltage lines. A lot of those are to do with school play areas. So we are looking to invest money to remove or either divert or remove overhead lines by school play areas as one of our core commitments. But we are also keen to ensure that high voltage and low voltage lines that potentially are in areas where we wouldn't particularly want them. If we designed it now, we wouldn't put them there. Then we are looking to divert those as well. So yeah, there is an uplift in the amount we're going to be spending or proposing to be spending in ED2 associated with that.
And one here from Gordon is there a general approach to support or subsidise the provision of three-phase connections to new homes and to encourage existing single-phase homes to upgrade if EVs or heat pumps require it?
Really good question. And at the moment, our policy is that we're looking to upgrade to three-phase supplies for properties. Yeah, so that is our current WPD policy, that we're looking for three-phase supplies to be going in there. That then enables customers to be able to add in heat pumps and EVs. So it's part of that enabling works for us. So absolutely great question.
Mark, I think this might have to be our final okay. question because of time. But Anonymous has asked, could you outline your anticipated levels of investment in ED2 in respect of data, digital and technology versus more traditional network reinforcement?
Yeah, I mean, traditional reinforcement, we still will have to do a significant amount of that, because there's only so much you can do with data and the flexibility first, anticipated spend. So if you go for flexible services, either one or two things happen. If you can use a flexible service, then you potentially only defer the need to reinforce, because the load will still be coming up and the amount of flexibility may not match exactly the load increase. Or secondly, you can find that flexibility first can defer that reinforcement requirement. So we will be looking to employ flexibility first as in every situation. So we will be looking to analyse and assess whether we can use that flexibility, and potentially that has got a multi-million-pound saving from not having to use conventional reinforcement. However, that has already been baked into the plan. So our levels of investment that we put in ED2 are based on the fact of we've done those assessments, and these are the ones that can be flexibility first, and these are the schemes that need conventional reinforcement. Hence the £6 billion proposition for the total expenditure in Rio ED2. I think that probably takes us to time. So just to finalise, thank you very much, everybody, for participating. It's great that so many of you were able to give up the time today, and hopefully you found it interesting. And I trust that's the case, because I obviously got a multitude of questions and I wasn't able to get through all of them. I positively encourage you to go onto our website and please, respond to the consultation. Your views are essential, important, critical to us. We will act on them. And really, this is a great chance for you to influence our plan and make sure that we deliver what you want us to deliver for Rio ED2. Thank you very much for your time. You take care. Have a nice day. Thank you.